Welcome back to the Mountain Morning Show on Park City Television. While we are all incredibly proud to live in such an idyllic community, the past week we've had to face some harsh realities that are affecting towns across this country. And this morning I'm joined by Captain Phil Kirk and Captain Ryan from the Park City Police Department to talk about what we as a community can do to not only prevent these circumstances from happening again, but also to heal together. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning. Good morning.
Thank you for being here. So, for those who may not be aware, could you just give us a little bit of a summary recap of where we've been from the start of this situation to now?
Sure. Like you mentioned, this has been a pretty difficult week for the community, for our officers, and particularly for the families who've suffered their losses. We were first notified and began our investigation when we had a report of the death of a young boy, Grant Seaver, 13 years old. That was last Sunday, a week ago. And the following Tuesday, we investigated the death of a friend of his, Ryan Ainsworth. So we started looking really closely at particularly some of the social media that was out there, because we weren't real sure cause of death. Of course, we wouldn't know that till after the autopsy was completed, but there was no indication of bad health or anything else at that point, evidentiary to lead us to know what had happened.
Sure.
And then the following day of after the death of Ryan Ainsworth, we had another individual connected with them, a 13-year-old female who attempted suicide. We did have a connection between all three of them in that they were good friends and were involved with a lot of social media. So from that point, we've taken a lot of investigative steps and a lot of steps to provide information to the community, to the parents. Been very actively involved with the schools in getting information out on what has happened, not with all of the in-depth details, but things they needed to be aware of and to be looking for. Currently, we're working closely with the Attorney General's Office of the State of Utah for some forensic investigation into computers and cell phones. Still conducting a lot of interviews. We've got a lot of officers and outside agencies assisting with us, trying to figure out exactly what has occurred with these deaths, and
I think also how this situation could have started in the first place, because I think a lot of parents see this and they think, not only not in my community, but that would never happen to my child. And these were three close friends. You know, you can track kids now, you can see everything through social media and their Facebook posts, and this was a tight group of children that somehow took a wrong turn that no one identified.
Right.
And they had obviously the love and support of their family and of the school. And I think something so wonderful that you are all doing is bringing attention to what parents can do proactively. You know, what they can look for online, the discussions that they can have with their children, and not wait for what some may consider that giant red flag moment.
Right.
So what's some advice you have for parents?
First off, to be aware of what their children are doing. Be involved in their lives. Know who their friends are. Know what they're doing in their bedrooms or in the other room, on the computer or on their phones, and spend time with them and talk, and just be as actively involved in their lives as they can possibly be.
And just be engaged with your children. And I think that's something, I mean, as a parent personally, I know that this was such a horrifying situation, and you automatically, you put your child's face on that circumstance, and you think about the role that those parents are having to go through right now, and you just, it's absolutely heartbreaking. So this is not the time to take a step back or to be passive with your child. This is the time to get right in there and have those conversations. Talk to me, Captain Kirk, a little bit about what the police department has been doing in the schools, just doing what we said, getting right in there and being proactive.
Yeah, I'd like to mention the schools have been terrific to work with on this. We put out already a couple of community alerts about this with information online, so take a look at that. But in summary, is what Captain Ryan said, be engaged with your kids, especially right now. They've been traumatized by what's happened to their schoolmates, and they're going to need your help as a parent, maybe even, you know, a counselor or a therapist to help. And there is that available through the schools at free at no cost, because we've seen a lot of kids just really struggling right now about this, and we don't want them to go you know, the wrong direction because we haven't provided that kind of assistance that they need. And so we've been working with them. One of the things that we're doing with information that we've been getting from the schools about those kids that are more prone to having problems with this, maybe have missed school and then close-knit friends with the kids that were already died, we're doing welfare checks on them on a daily basis to make sure they're okay at home and that they're with their parents and that their parents are working with them and helping them to get through this kind of crisis stage that they're going through. And working with the schools, we've also done some locker checks with canines. We brought in we don't have canines ourselves, so we went through a number of agencies that were willing to provide their canine services to us. And last week we did some locker searches. We did come up with some residue of methamphetamine in one of the lockers. That's something we do on a regular basis, and we'll probably increase our frequency of doing that to make sure the best we can that the schools are a safe environment for the kids.
Absolutely, and I think it's so important, as you said, the welfare follow-up checks. These type of situations, as heartbreaking and rattling as they are for adults, you present them to adolescents and teens that don't have the coping skills necessarily to understand and to deal with the ramifications of these. So children that may not have shown any sign of depression or anxiety or something, this can trigger something in them, which can be a huge issue moving into the future.
Right. You mentioned one of the things about parents having that big red flag that pops up, and you know what, that may not happen. The kids need that interaction with their parents so that they don't have to wait for that moment to come, that red flag moment when it may be too late.
Where it's going to hit them over the head,
Right.
and that's, yeah, sometimes it's in the details, or it may be nothing at all. And I think that's where the engagement in your child, as you said, just to be present in their lives, to ask questions, and this is not the time to take a step back, that this is the time to really get involved in their lives.
Right.
Well, yeah. And
Just real quick, one of the things that parents do find something that they think is suspicious, particularly nasal inhalers or water droplet bottles or that have been packaging this particular drug, they should call the police immediately, because this drug is so dangerous you don't want to even have physical contact with your skin with it, because it could be lethal to you just with that. So it's a very powerful drug. It's something that particularly packages are coming in from out of the country, maybe China or whatever, that are easily sent to even young kids. So we want them to keep an eye out for that kind of stuff. If they get anything like that that looks suspicious, please call their local police department.
call the police department immediately.
Yeah,
Don't
right.
try and solve this on your own.
Correct.
Gentlemen, thank you for stopping
Thank
by
you.
this morning, giving us an update and helping to sort of guide our decision-making process through this tragedy in the community. And I appreciate all you are doing to help
Thank
us
you.
heal from this. We will be right back after these commercial breaks. This is the Mountain Morning Show right here on Park City Television.